my plan is to talk about not actually about why you want to do an MBA, but my discussion is about how to become an MBA. Now, as an MBA lecturer, as a trainer, and as an executive coach, I coach C-level executives, not only here, but even in other countries. And some do have even higher qualification than MBAs. And then some of the things that we discuss. If you really look at how to become an MBA, is you can do an MBA and receive a certificate and show the world, hey, look, I have a certificate, I am an MBA. But there's a huge difference between taking a certificate, that is having an MBA, and being an MBA. So my discussion is today, don't expect everyone in this room today to become MBAs. Some of them will say, I have an MBA, and somebody is going to even ask for your certificate and say, hey, can I see your certificate? Right? Let's say you are going to lecture somewhere. You have to produce your certificate, proof that you have an MBA. But in the society, in the place where you work, in wherever the place that you do business, where you associate other peers, seniors in business or in your place of work, how do you become an MBA? I have heard for myself where people used to say, hey, why don't you do an MBA? And I have heard people saying, I have an MBA. Oh, really? I'm sorry, I didn't know. So what's the difference of having an MBA and being an MBA? Is your ability to apply whatever you learn in your day-to-day life, in your profession, in your business. Otherwise, someone is going to anyway recommend you to do another MBA. So lecturers can come and teach you, professors can come and teach you, you can do your research and everything, but a great transformation is required from your side. So how do you bring in that transformation to become an MBA, but not just a person who has a certificate of an MBA? For an example, my wife has a certificate in French because she had been learning French while she was an A-level student. And according to her, she used to speak French at that time. And then more than 1 or 2 decades later, she has the certificate, but she can't speak a word of French, obviously, because she's not practicing French. Same way, you could get knowledge, but if you want to transform yourself to become an MBA, what you need to do is you need to practice them, use them in your day-to-day life. So I'll talk about few things. For an example, COVID-19, the pandemic hit the world very hard in 2020. And then what happened? Some of the organizations, some individuals were able to adapt to the situation so quickly. Those who have done MBAs, those who have been monitoring what's happening around the world, they knew it was coming and they were able to adapt, they were able to prepare. Now, for your information, once this pandemic is over, this is going to be over, everybody is going to get 2 vaccines, and then the economy is going to boom. My question is, are you ready? I can see that all of you are here in this room are getting ready for it. Because by the time it is over, full vaccination program is over, it might take about another 1 year, 1.5 years time. But by that time, you will be ready, armed with a proper MBA. But the university cannot transform you. You need to transform yourself. So as I told you, for an example, 2020 April, we Sri Lankans had the first lockdown. So what happened to us? How many of you still do not have a place at home where you can conduct a meeting or participate in a meeting? Now, this is in my home. This is a corner. Nobody can walk behind me. I have just found a small corner and I have instructed my two kids, you can't be shouting. They also have instructed me when they have classes that I can't be shouting. So we have a mutual understanding at home. We respect each other because this is not something happening only to me, but even to my two kids who are going to school through using Zoom. So we respect each other because at home, this is happening to everybody. The only thing that I cannot control is the fellows who are selling bread and vegetables near my gate. I can't stop them shouting, but then it's a normal thing. I know students who have dogs because I know exactly when they hear my voice, they bark on the other side. So we have that kind of understanding. That's empathy. So if you don't have a place still in a tiny corner at home where you can have a meeting or study area, by switching on your camera, you are not ready to face the growth that is coming after pandemic. After this pandemic, there is a massive growth that is going to come world over. If I'm telling a lie, go back to financial crisis of 2008-9, go back to 2001 9/11 attack. Go and check the world economic growth, Asian economic growth numbers. We have hit negativity, less below zero. And after that, massive growth for 3 to 4 years. Then it stabilizes. So we are about to hit that. We have hit the bottom. We are going to hit further bottom. And then we are going to grow. And if you still don't have a place like this to have a meeting, to have a study center at your home, you haven't transformed. You are not adaptable. Then you are like a dinosaur, which will be wiped out, just like when the asteroid hits the dinosaur families, wiped out. But you got to be like a cockroach. Be ready, right? If you still can't switch on your camera, if you have 24 classes or let's say 15 classes for your MBA subject, if you can't switch on your camera for 10 subjects, I think you are like a dinosaur. Very simple. If you can't, unmute your mic and speak, I'm not only talking about the classes, even at your office. Even at your office, when there is a meeting, if you are still want to hide behind your camera, I think you are like a dinosaur. Now, these are little things that shows whether you have gotten that maturity, whether you have transformed yourself. These are my measurements to see. I can tell whether someone is going to transform, whether someone is going to become an MBA, or whether someone is going to have an MBA certificate. That is up to you. That's your behavior. And if your behavior has not modified to suit this post-pandemic growth era, I think we all are failing. So sometimes I become the unpopular guy when I tell these things. Unfortunately or fortunately, I'm the guy who would be teaching entrepreneurship. So if I'm to teach you entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs are the most agile creatures in this world because they adapt, right? With the vegetable seller, when the government said we are closed, the fellow came to my gate and started selling vegetables. That's his agility. We saw how supermarkets were struggling. They were unable to cater. Even now, in the second wave, third lockdown, I was trying to get my goods from the supermarket. They were taking weeks. But the entrepreneur who is near my house, I called the fellow. He said, no problem, sir. We will deliver ice cream. We will deliver coconut. We will deliver you the gas tank. That's the kind of adaptability we are looking at. Otherwise, we'll be wiped out. Very simple. So you as an MBA, if you want to become an MBA, you can decide, okay, I want to become an MBA or I want to have a certificate. And believe me, this post-pandemic era, people will not believe in certificate. People will look at your behavioral change. People will look at your application of your knowledge. So I want you to go back to World Economic Forum beyond 2025, the kind of skills that they are looking for. I'm not going to share a screen here, but I want you to go and Google the World Economic Forum, beyond 2025 skills that they are looking at. And you would know almost all the skills required by the World Economic Forum is being taught at this MBA. And that's something great. But also remember, knowledge is not power. Now somebody is going to get really angry with me for telling this. I'm telling you, applied knowledge is power. We learn that we have to go on the right side of the road. We learn that we have to wash our hands before we eat. All that is knowledge. We learn that we should not go and publish anything negative on social media. But go and check around what people do. They completely do things against their own knowledge, against the very fundamental things that they have learned. So gaining knowledge is one thing. Practicing that is another one. So I want you all to become a bunch of, MBAs, transformed, where you can proudly say, hey, I'm an MBA. And someone is not going to say, really? Why don't you do a real MBA? No, people should see. I'm still eagerly waiting to see somebody asking for my certificate, to see whether I have an MBA. After all, I would like to show it to people, but nobody is asking me. Why? My behavior stand as my MBA. When I send an email, that email tells the world that I have an MBA. When I give a proposal to somebody, that tells that I'm an MBA. When I tell somebody I will come at 9:30 and I go at 9:30, that tells that I have an MBA. When I respect someone else's time, when I improve my efficiency, my effectiveness, when I see the big picture, when I go and use certain terminologies, the world sees that I have an MBA. So when they know that I'm reading a lot, right? I can show you so many books. I have done my MBA so long ago, but then how do I keep my MBA relevant? I keep on add knowledge every day and then go and apply knowledge every day. So my humble request, you have enrolled with this MBA at the right time, because it will take about exactly another 1 year, 1.5 years for this pandemic to be over, and we'll have a massive growth potential. And by that time, you will be armed with right amount of knowledge and skill, and at that time, be a part of that growth, because that growth is not going to stay for 10 years, maybe maximum 4 to 5 years. Have your fair share of that growth professionally, personally, and if you are an entrepreneur, you can also have a fair share of your business as well. So I wish you all the very best, and I'm eagerly waiting to see you one of those days while your cameras are on, where all the gadgets or supporting systems are on, where I will help you to become an entrepreneur when we meet for my subject. So thank you very much. Wish you all the best and stay safe.